Dragonets of Prophecy. It's been a while. For today's question, let me know, do y'all like thunderstorms? Because like I love thunderstorms. I think they're amazing. But that is besides the point. So I wanted to show you a little something that I got from a friend. And that is literally the premise of this video. My friend gave me this old Raggedy Ann freaking clock. Like it still works. You literally wind it to turn it on and it sits there and click. You can set an alarm. And it supposedly talks, but like the battery in it is dead, so like it doesn't talk. It makes some weird creepy noise. But it's lovely. I love this. Like, this is amazing. And so I thought that since, you know, I have the clock and I wanted to show you guys the clock that, oh, and it says I love you right here. And it's a little broken. This guy, he pops up. But other than that, I love it. It looks amazing. She found it in her house and she was like, you want it? And I was like, heck yeah. Like, that's Raggedy Ann, you know, Annabelle. But, so, for today's video, we are going to be talking about Raggedy Ann. We're going to be talking about the story, not of the, well, we're going to be talking about Annabelle, the Raggedy Ann doll from The Conjuring, but we are also going to be talking about the creation of Annabelle per se. It is making noises now. Oh man. But first, we're going to be talking about the story of Annabelle. So if you are the story of the Raggedy Ann doll. So if you want to hear about it, then stay tuned. Alright, so like when I was researching about, you know, the Raggedy Ann doll, I found like two conflicting stories. I felt actually like looking for the backstory of Raggedy Ann. There's like so many like different, you know, stories and different things, but they all boil down to the same thing. There was a little girl named Marcella who was up in the attic in her house, and she found a faceless rag doll. So she took this rag doll, and in some stories it says that he was her brother, or, you know, he was her dad, but it's all the same. The man named Johnny Gruel, who, like, in one thing that I found said he was her dad and he was an artist, and she took the doll to him, and he thought, you know, the doll looked a little weird without a face, so he drew a face on for her. And after, Marcella had her grandma sew button eyes onto the doll. Okay, we in what freaking Coraline now? We're sewing button eyes. But after, like, Johnny Gruel seen that, you know, Marcella really loved the doll. Like, she loved the doll. She took it everywhere with her. She was, like, in love with the doll. And eventually he was like, you know, all good entrepreneurs, like, you know, if one person likes this, then we're going to, you know, see, you know, a lot of people are going to like it, so we're going to mass produce this. So that's basically what he did. He seen that Marcella loved the doll, so then he decided to, you know, he got a patent for it, and he decided to get the doll. So in September 1915, Johnny Gruel got the patent design for the Raggedy Ann dolls. And then he started mass producing them, and they were doing fairly well. But the sad part of the whole story is that back in like 1921, Marcella was given the smallpox vaccine without her parents' approval. She was given to it at school and without the parents' approval. And for the longest time, everybody believed that she died from the vaccine of smallpox. And when she passed away, her body was limp like a rag doll. So they say that Johnny Gruel, like, began to massively produce these dolls because it reminded him of the way that his doll, you know, utterly passed, and it reminded him of her body, which honestly, if you ask me, like, that is like such a sad story for a doll. Like, that's like, to me, that is like so sad. Like, your, you know, loved one dies, so you mass produce this doll because it reminds you of their body, dead body. Okay. But so part of that story was actually proven, it was fact checked. So Marcella didn't die from the vaccine. She didn't die from the vaccine. Back in, the 1990, the 1900s, 1800s, doctors' practices weren't as good as they were today. We can totally see that by the way that they used to do abortions with a coat hanger. Just saying. But she died because when she was given the vaccine, the needle was not sterile enough. So when they injected her with the needle, it allowed bacteria to grow, and essentially she died from a bacterial infection due to the needle not being sterile. Which I'm honestly glad that, nowadays vaccines are, shots are sterile, because like me, I don't like needles, but at least I won't, get a bacterial infection. And then honestly, if you think about it, the story really proves how much, we have evolved over time. Because back in the day, deaths were very, very common, and like it happened all the time. Nowadays, people can live to 100. That was unheard of back in them days. But that is literally the story of the Raggedy Ann doll. Marcella found the doll, Johnny Rule painted the face, then mass produced it. We are going to get into the Annabelle doll. So Raggedy Ann, I think that's very coincidental how it's a Raggedy Ann doll and then it's named Annabelle, and it's very coincidental. I'm not saying nothing. But Annabelle is not how you see it in the movies. Movies, they always gotta make things seem so much more scarier than they are in actual reality. But so back in 1970, a mother bought her daughter Donna a Raggedy Ann doll. Donna loved this doll. She had this doll everywhere she went, and eventually Donna got old and went to college, like most of us do. In college, she was rooming with her friend Angie. And they, she had the doll. She put the doll on her bed, for, looks, make it look nice and pizzazzy. But she started to notice that the doll began to act strangely. The doll began to move. The doll, she would have the doll on the bed. They would leave and find the doll on the couch with its arms and legs crossed, sitting like a pretty person. But they started noticing the doll was moving around and acting very strangely. And one day she came home into her room and felt that the doll had drops of blood on its hands and its chest. Now, first and foremost, let me tell you this. I do not care if my parents ever bought me a doll, if it was a doll from back when I was a child, or, just a doll. If I were to ever find a doll that I owned having blood on its body, it's going in the trash. I'm over. I watched scary movies. I'm done. See you later, homie. But so after, all these weird, strange things been happening, and she, eventually, Donna said that she found a note that said "Help Lou" on it. And so Donna asked for a medium to come to speak with the doll and see, what's going on with the doll. But so when the medium came and was, trying to contact with whatever spirits was connected with the doll, she said that the little girl named Annabelle Higgins passed on the property and was connected to the doll. But, there has not been no records, no nothing pointing to an actual girl named Annabelle Higgins, dying on the property. Which, honestly, to me, that's a red flag. Because if a medium says that someone died on the property and there's no records, most of the time you can find records of people who've died on properties. But so Donna had a friend named Lou, and her friend Lou, they've been friends since they were kids. He never liked the doll. Honestly, the Raggedy Ann dolls kind of look a little ominous, they're smiling at you all the time. They kind of remind me of a clown. Just smiling, sitting there, blink expression, how you doing? But so one time, Lou said that he had a dream that he did not feel like it was a dream, it felt real, which maybe he was, maybe he was astral projecting, or he was having those sleep things. I forgot the name. Maybe he was having sleep paralysis. That's the name. I'd had a video about that too. You should go check it out. But maybe he had sleep paralysis. I honestly don't know. I'm not Lou. I can't tell you. But he said one night he thought he was dreaming, and he woke up in his dream, and he seen that the doll was standing at the foot of his bed. First and foremost, I don't care if you're my friend. If your doll is appearing in my dreams, I'm gonna burn it. No, thank you. And if you get mad at me, I'm sorry. But he said that he woke up in his dream and that the doll was at the foot of his bed, just there. Honestly, to me, that sounds a little weird. But the doll was at the foot of his bed and began to kind of like hover or like crawl up his legs. And the doll eventually made it to his chest and began to strangle him. And then he woke up the next morning. Like, honestly, I wouldn't even think the doll's, I wouldn't even think it's a little girl named Annabelle Higgins. I would have compared it to a demon. Like, that's a demon in your doll, homie. No, thank you. I don't want to be around that doll. Like, I would never go to my friend's house ever again. If I had a dream that their doll was at my house and trying to kill me, I ain't never going back to your house. Like, no, thank you. I'm sorry. But what really just really, sent them, really just, they were done with it was Lou and Donna were hanging out, and, there was a big crash in the room. And they thought, Lou thought somebody broke in. Honestly, that's my first thing. Someone's in my house. But Lou thought someone broke in, and when he went to go investigate it, he went into the room, and everything was perfect. Nothing was out of place except for the Raggedy Ann doll, which was thrown in a corner. Lou, he was checking around the house, trying to make sure there was nobody in the house, and literally there was nobody in the house. So, after he went to go leave, he felt like his chest started bleeding. They look on it, there was, I think it said 3 vertical slashes and 4 horizontal slashes, or maybe a third way around. I really don't remember. But, honestly, that's demon. Sorry, that's demon right there. I'm just saying. But, so Donna, contacted the medium. This is where the medium part comes in. So Donna ended up contacting a priest. The priest said there was nothing they could do about it. The priest referred them to Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are iconic. Ed and Lorraine Warren told them that there was no girl named Annabelle Higgins, and that's literally how Annabelle got her name, was because, they thought her name was Annabelle. But Ed and Lorraine Warren told her that there is no spirit named Annabelle, and that is a demonic presence, which there's where I have my little, my little rant, because psychic mediums are able to pick up on the different energies of spirits, and demonic entities have a different energy feeling towards them. A demonic presence, the energy is different than a spiritual presence. And the way demons work is they taunt. Okay, so the way a demon is able to control you in your life and everything is they taunt you and they break you down they break you down mentally, so that you are not at a good mental state, so that they're able to eventually, get it. But me, I want to know, that psychic medium should have at least, if they were as good as, they were, should have been able to pick up on the negative energy, off the bat. You can feel the sense of dread and, know when something's not right when it comes to spirits. But, so Ed and Lorraine Warren, informed her that there was a demon, that attached itself to the doll, and that the demon essentially wanted to kill Donna, Lou, and the other one. I forgot her name already. Angie. But so after, they found this out, they didn't want the doll. Honestly, I wouldn't either, girl. High five to you. So Ed and Lorraine Warren decided to take the doll, and they took the doll, and now it is at their museum displayed in a glass case in which it, it says don't open it. And they also have a spirit box so that you are able to talk to Annabelle, which honestly, I want to go, and I want to go be who you think you is? I ain't scared of you. I told you, Robert the doll, I want to go take a picture of him and be let's go, fight me. It is what it is. But that is it for today's video. I'm so sorry it took me forever to post. I've been a little busy, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.